Hey guys, I think we're live here. I'm going to discuss 7 reasons why I think AIs are better investments than humans in this day and age. Quick LinkedIn post here. So, the first reason is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is a real thing. Why would I spend my time investing in humans that will go if I can spend my time doing ads, building systems that will last forever? Um, just for background, I hired over 1,000 employees. The number is not exact, but I hired a crap load of humans, mostly freelancers back then. So the good kind, right? Like entrepreneurial people. I didn't hire people that are just seeking the job and pass the time. I really nerded out big time on HR, the culture stuff, and I did everything that the books recommended, right? And I A/B tested extensively to conclude that humans wouldn't scale. And the thesis was that I was investing tons of times in them, in my employees. We had book clubs. I would do hit trainings with them, meditation. I'd spend tons of time just caring about them, paying them, and the results were quite stale. Um, Changing a human being is hard. Changing yourself is hard enough, So if you try to change others, it's almost an impossible challenge. So just decided to pull the plug on that thesis. And that time I could have invested in myself. I could have invested in ads. I could have just spent time creating a system instead of hiring an employee. What I mean by that is that when you have a business problem, there's two things that you can do. One is hire someone to fix that problem. It's the easy way, right? You're outsourcing the thinking to that employee. It's like, yeah, just do it. I'm going to pay you for it. The thing is that most humans, when facing a tough challenge, they will fail, Um, most challenges that I had in my businesses had to do with innovation and starting something new, starting something that wasn't done before. So they had to do some research, they had to fail, but most humans are not used to that. Even if you give them a system that they don't have the grit to continue and solve a problem. And if they do, they're gonna charge the heck out of you to solve it. So it's kind of a lose-lose proposition. What I understood deep in the game is that I could spend probably 5 to 10 hours of my valuable time, which is worth anywhere from 2 to 5K an hour, to fix the problem. And as this problem is somewhat urgent, quote unquote, I can gain momentum of that, and that can trickle down my business. And that could solve the problem once and for all, right? What would happen is that, yeah, sometimes like 5% of the time I'd hire someone, they'd fix my problem, bing, bang, boom, that was amazing. But most of the time they didn't. I had to pay them to not fix my problem, and I would be slowed down, and then I would feel bad. And then I'd like, oh, I'm going to hire someone better. And this is like outsourcing accountability, which is this point here that I'm going to get to. But the opportunity cost one is so strong. What you really want to do is sit down as a CEO, as a smart person, master no-code softwares like Zapier or Clay, for example. Fix the problem yourself. Stop being lazy, and the problem is done pretty much forever. You create a system that stays with you. I also tried hiring automation employees, people that had experience in automation to fix my problem at scale. But again, two scenarios with these folks. Most of them would charge a lot. And yeah, most of them couldn't deliver even on the automation that I wanted. They didn't have the IQ power also to think of new solution and to innovate, which is extremely rare in humans. So what I'm saying here is that you're better doubling down your strength, doubling down your creativity, your IQ, and using no-code tools to solve your problems forever, pretty much. and these tools are available. I'm not even talking about AI here. So opportunity cost is a big one here. So the second thing is that, yeah, most employees, they go sooner or later. They have their own motivations, right? Like they get better offers and so forth. But systems, they stay. Systems, they run forever. Like a Zap, it doesn't go. Yes, it might breaks every once in a while, but it doesn't break 5 times a day like an employee would. Hey, Charles, have a question for this. Dumb questions that they could ask Google or nowadays ChatGPT. Believe it or not, even when ChatGPT was on 2 to 3 years ago, my employees couldn't even use it. Some of them were starting to catch up. There's always the 5% rule, 5% superstars. That's what you'll get with humans. But yeah, most of them, they couldn't even ask ChatGPT a question. It is that bad. It is really hard to change as a human. It's really hard to adopt new habits. And yeah, I suffered greatly because of that. So instead of hiring an employee, I just invest in a SaaS. So 95% of my expenses nowadays, they're softwares. And these softwares, they don't mess up, they don't break. There's people constantly trying to fix them. These are VC funded companies. Massively good products that hyperscale and over deliver 10 to 20x the value. These softwares are built by very smart founders and CEOs. Maybe they mastered the HR game better than I did. Who knows? I think they're spending a shitload of money on employees as well, for the same reasons I'm detailing in that video. But the value that they give is way bigger than an employee. Sam Altman has predicted the $1 billion company. So that's happening like right now. People, what they're about to do pretty soon, because these AI agents, they exist, but they haven't been deployed yet at scale, right? I think OpenAI are really going to be the first company to democratize that. Sam Altman understands the potentially negative impact that this is going to have on humanity. It's going to cut off job, but he also knows, I think, deep down about the resiliency in humans. So let me address that point right now. I don't believe in like firing everyone and everyone is going to be left in poverty. That obviously doesn't scale. That is going to create a world of shit. What's going to happen instead is that greedy humans are going to get a slap in the face. The thing is, humans are really rational, right? So there's this bubbly job market right now, and getting a job and getting paid a lot is quite easy. So humans just do it. They're rational, but as soon as the market starts going to shit, I think people are gonna reinvent themselves. They're gonna start being more creative, and I think creativity is a human thing. I don't think AI is gonna reproduce that anytime soon. So what I think is going to happen is that people are going to become freelancers, right? So I don't think it's going to decimate the economy. It's definitely going to cause some pain, but pain is not bad. Pain is a slap in the face. It's like, wake up. You need to adapt. So I think it's going to be good. And yeah, if you want to be part of that AI revolution as an entrepreneur, there's definitely a shot that humongous businesses will be created very quick by humans that are speedy in using technologies, right? They're not betting on humans. They're not spending 40% of their time managing humans or spending their full budget on humans. They're spending time learning about new tech, mastering them, scaling them, connecting them together. These are the skills of the future. So I guess I communicated my further slash next points in that point. Got ahead of myself, but yeah, like the job hoppers, I mean, that's a lot of humans. That's a lot of careerists, corporatists. They're honing skills that are not gonna scale in this AI revolution. So I think that they're winning way more than employers. But employers, they get the vanity, right? Oh, I have 200 employees. Oh, look at me, I'm so big, I'm so good. that's definitely not my motivation back then, but was probably, I don't know, 5 to 10% of it. Look at my big team, or even to convince a client, yo, I have this humongous team, I mean, I think back then that was reassuring for a bunch of clients, but nowadays I think people feel way more reassured if they know that Charles is going to work on their campaigns and AIs, So there's definitely a vanity aspect to it, and while this will not be the future, and I used to be a solopreneurship hater, by the way. Really pivoted here in my opinions with facts, stats, and science. One thing also, almost last but not least, I wanted to discuss in the why AI systems are better than employees, that I felt back in the days that I was less accountable. I used to prone extreme accountability amongst my employees, but the irony here is that I was outsourcing some of my accountability to them. I was like, yeah, you do this, but if they do this, this means I won't. And I tested the full Gino Wickman outsource slash traction philosophy, right? I did that. So you can't tell me nothing about that. I did the full thing. The thing is, also the other irony is that these employees wouldn't want to be held extremely accountable. Like they're just like, hey, I'm a 9 to 5er. I'm not here to go through your military systems. I don't want to improve. I don't want to have this discipline and gritty life like you had, AK. They don't want to have the good life. It's the only way you can have a good life is imposing pain on yourself, else you'll be suffering pretty much the full time. Anyway, they weren't in on that philosophy, they were in on the calm 9 to 5, like just give me peace. That's why I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't want to suffer much. So, but the irony here is that me, Mr. Accountable, I was also less accountable by actually holding my other team members accountable. I was like, oh, they're gonna do it, And when a client was pissed, I was like, yeah, go handle it. I'm certainly not gonna handle it for you. So I was missing an important part of the feedback loop here, which is the way to go. By the way, if you want to scale an organization, scale employees, and have the full structure like I had, like the COOs, the CMOs, and so forth, you need to outsource to these people. They need to handle their problem. You can't jump in on every client that complains. As a CEO, you need to let them handle it. But and that, there's always this pain in your heart when you outsource that to someone, when they're outsourcing a problem of their own creation. And sometimes it was really heart-wrenching. You didn't know what to do, if you should jump in to solve this problem, solve this client. So, and it's not a trust thing. It's just that they wouldn't have handled it as well as you did. So as point 6, point 7 is probably the worst one. And the point that really led me to, slash all the employee things. The thing when you breed mediocrity, and I think being an employee is that it is mediocrity in most cases. Like these people have less value and less virtues, and might even do stuff to destroy your company if you're not doing what they say, right? Hey, pay me more, pay me faster, and so forth. So I had a bunch of, well, not a bunch, probably a couple employees on 1,000 plus go rogue on me and blackmail me and all kinds of stuff. And CEOs and founders don't often talk about that because it makes them look weak, because it doesn't reassure their existing client base. But I'm going to tell you that this happens all the fucking time. I interviewed 2,000 CEOs on my podcast, and I get that all the time. Like employees are low, most employees are low virtue people that will try to do whatever they can to get their money, because that's why they came in. They didn't come into work because of your great culture, because you have a ping pong table. They come in for the money. And as soon as there's something that is not in agreement with in their minds, right? Their clouded mind, they might like go rogue on you, and just that makes like it not worth it, because someone doing that is wasting your resources, your energy, and so forth, and it just zaps your faith in humanity as well. which I gained back, by the way. I do believe in humans. I just believe that they're made to be entrepreneurs. They're not made to be bots on a payroll. By the way, let me visit the other side of that medal, the point number 7, which is companies that try to wrestle against that with like NDAs that are super restrictive. Like people can't even talk on social media nowadays. They can't be honest. They can't be themselves. So that's the answer of big corps. And yeah, it's not better for sure for humanity. And I believe that freedom of speech is super important. And yeah, restricting someone from saying or doing things with their beings is definitely not helping this world be a better place. So I just think what would be a better system on the short term, a very realistic one, is the system that I'm doing, which is buying a bunch of softwares, and my clients, right, which are entrepreneurs, they become my salespeople eventually because they use my product and then they can sell it organically to me rather than having a salesperson push it on people. For example, right? So in my clients, they become business partners. So if I work with them, if they trust me, then we launch a business together. And they're going to be in charge of ops. I'm going to be in charge of that. And guess what? You can build a company that way. If someone is really useful, very entrepreneurial, then they can be the CFO. And their team is not going to be human, it's going to be software. Every single exec or co-founder that I onboard in my companies, they are technical, you know. They can use technology, they can use no code, they can code, they can automate, you know. All their systems need to be automated. Every startup that I start, that's the rule number 1. We cannot outsource to another human. Okay, so that is super important. And that is my actual world. What would the future look like now? I think everyone would be freelancers. Everyone. Freelancers managing an army of AI agents. That would be the reality in the next 5 to 15 years until AGI happens, and we don't know really what will happen after that. Or I don't have enough data right now. I might have in a year from now to make these predictions. But this would be, I think it would be like some gigantic company. Let's think of an AI Upwork, right? In which someone would outsource a contract in the cloud, and someone, the contract would be AI appropriated to someone. And there would be like a blockchain contract. If you accomplish this, then you get paid for that, right? So it would be paid per job. And it would be AI defined, because it's always a problem to define a job and define a task, because it's really complex of who does what in a company. So I think this is what the future would look like in terms of freelancing AI and the job market. I don't think the job market will scale the 9 to 5 way or the hourly paid way. I think it will scale with some kind of AGI machine that will distribute these contracts, these micro tasks, and pay people for that. So I want to know about your comments in there. Want to know what you think. As usual, I think it's been a short but productive one, and I'm eager to hear about what you guys think.